That's the question. Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another match reaction. As always, I am joined by Was and Rob. How are we doing, boys?
Great. Good, thank you.
Very, very good. Very, very good.
Kish, I'm not introduced you yet. Wait for your cue, mate. That was good. Right, okay, as you probably noticed, we've got Kish here, who is a Tottenham Hotspur fan. So by all means, give him a lot of abuse in the chat. Just don't show them a lot of love, that good stuff. I'm joking. Obviously, as always, we've got to show them love because they don't get much love because they don't win anything. So it is what it is. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. The boys' socials are down below as always. Anyways, let's get into it. Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur. This is a big game for us. Obviously, Jose Mourinho, our ex-manager, he's gonna be wanting to win this game. Was, we'll start with you, the voice of reason. Was,
oh my God,
how are you feeling about going into this game?
I'm feeling really positive. I think we're gonna slap Spurs, man, this time. I think the sharpness is starting to come back in players. Especially with people like Rashford just coming, right time as well. From the last game, he's looking good. The only worry is probably Martial, and he needs a goal. Like I said last podcast, he needs a goal to just kickstart his season. Obviously, all strikers doing it. So, and any other issue is probably the fullbacks. I was saying that as well the other day as well about the fullbacks. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty confident. I'm not really worried. I think the only player I was worried about was Son, and he's not there. So.
No, he is.
I don't really care about the rest of them.
He is though. He is there.
He's not fit, man. I'm not listening to this absolute waffle.
Well, no, it's better if he plays like half fit anyway. So yeah, I don't mind. That's fine.
I personally.
You're not scared of your teammate.
Right, Kish, we'll come to you first before we bring Robin. Kish, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Spurs on fantastic form. I spoke to you very recently, off the back of that performance against Newcastle, the one that you got, rightfully robbed off a win. What were your thoughts, bro? You're very confident.
To be honest, if this was United last season after January, once you had the initial effects of Fernandes, then at that point in time even if we had our full team, I think you would have beaten us comfortably, in my opinion, just because of the rhythm and the way that you were playing your football was fantastic. But I think at the moment, you can't deny that United have been terrible. They have struggled massively. Now, I know maybe that's due to the fact that, with everything going on, which I'm sure you're going to elaborate on. But I think for us as a team, I think we've got a confidence boost. I know the Europa League is not, at the highest end quality, but, getting a couple of goals, gives confidence to people like Lo Celso, Kane, Bergwijn played really well as well. And then the game against Chelsea, I know Pens is a bit of luck, but we were 1-0 down in that game, got it back. So I think in terms of morale at the moment in our team, we couldn't be facing United at a better time, if you get where I'm coming from in terms of confidence and morale for our players.
Right, okay, so in terms of your sort of mindset going into this, you're based on the fact that you've beaten Maccabi Haifa and some next random team that
I think it's general confidence. I think Chelsea as well, beating Chelsea for us, we don't usually beat these sort of teams, and in a cup competition as well, from 1-0 down, usually in the past we've crumbled, and for a rare occasion, this has not happened, and I feel like in terms of the transfers and everything at the club at the moment seems to be a lot of positivity, which was at the start of the season. If you told me, you already heard me speak to you many times before, I was devastated with everything that was going on, where now it's a completely different opinion of mine, which seems to be the case with a lot of Tottenham fans at the moment as well. So it's a good time for me personally to say to play United, who are clearly struggling at the moment on kind of all fronts.
Right, okay. Before I pass it to you, Rob, the point you've kind of led me into the point I was going to make anyway. In case you've got a lot of background noise, by the way.
Okay. Apologies. Apologies.
Yeah. So, just obviously the point I was going to make is football changes quickly. As you just said to me, we spoke not so long ago, prior to you signing Gareth Bale, obviously me moving, prior to you signing Gareth Bale, you was in the dumps, basically. You basically saying, oh, it's going to be a long season for us. You know, things aren't going to go our way. Jones has not got his signings, etc., etc. And, you know, that's changed within a couple of signings. I'm not saying we're going to sign people, but what I'm saying is football can change within a result. And Rob, I'll come on to you with that because, like you mentioned not so long ago, you know, if you win on Sunday, it's actually 4 wins in a row. Granted, summer games will not be convincing, but it's all about momentum at the end of the day, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and with football, things are never as good or as bad as you think. So I watch Tottenham, obviously, for work and study them and kind of look into them. I'm not particularly, if I was a Spurs fan, I certainly wouldn't be as confident as Kish is. I think Gareth Bale coming into the club is a good signing. He's nowhere near fit. Even if he does feature at some point, it's going to take him a while to really go for it. Reguilon as well. And that, obviously in that game where they won, was it 5-2? Was it the last league game? Was it 5-2?
Yeah, 5-2 against Southampton.
5-2. It was probably the worst half of football before the goals that I've seen Tottenham play.
That's exactly what I said to Kish as well.
So you got. So again, it's like let's operate in reality rather than like dreams. And I think with Tottenham this year, it's about Mourinho kind of stabilising that defence and finding a way because you know he's lost Alderweireld. Vertonghen, and he's got Alderweireld in there, and obviously he's got some young players as well. And he's got to try and still find a balance for his style of football. And I still don't know if Tottenham fans have got a grasp of what Mourinho football is yet, because you've not really seen it. You've just seen bits and pieces. I don't think winning a game in the League Cup means anything at the end of the day. It's just spin the wheel and you might win that game. Not same for United with Brighton. It's the same thing that you could lose that game or win it. I agree with what we said before there about I think United's performance has not been good because pre-season has been so ridiculously hampered. But lots of clubs have suffered with that. So I think it might come down to which team is fitter on the day. And I would say for United, in that second game against Brighton, there was definitely signs of rejuvenated fitness there. The pace was back. They were popping it around like they were at the end of last season. It looked like United again. So I'm kind of a lot more settled than I think a lot of United fans who are maybe a bit too focused on whether Jadon Sancho's having shredded wheat or Cheerios for his breakfast this week or something. I think I'm more looking towards United just putting out a good, strong 11 and playing a good game of football.
Yeah, well, as Rob's kind of alluded to that in terms of the last 30 minutes, I've got to also, I obviously try being impartial as I possibly can. We was terrible against Brighton in the first half as well. Prior to our goal, we were absolutely shocking, similar to what we kind of said regarding Tottenham Hotspur. So I've just got to add that as well. What are your thoughts, the manner in which we're kind of approaching this game? You know, as Robert said there, in the last 30 minutes, we start to look a bit closer to what we would expect from a Man United team. Pogba came on, Rashford came on. Pogba in particular was the most noticeable improvement because Rashford has shown quite a bit of improvement in the last couple of games prior to the Brighton one. What is your thoughts after the Brighton game? Are you a bit more confident? Or are you still under the perception that, you know, it's going to be an interesting game? We don't really know what teams going to turn up in terms of the manner in which we play.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we had a better second half than a better first half and the other way around kind of thing, because that's the last bit of play you've done before going into this game, I suppose. No, it was really nice to see, especially from our top play, our first 11, I suppose. The movement, the speed, that urgency that it's been lacking. I think Rob alluded to that on that about the fact that we just didn't have the fitness, or you don't have the agency. So, but it's time to come back, and it's coming back at the right time. And we have won a couple of games on the bounce. I know they're not been, it's only League Cup end of the day, but a win's a win as well to just get that ball rolling, like you're saying. I'm pretty confident from what I saw in that second half, especially with Van de Beek and Rashford. Even Pogba, although he had a little bit of a cameo role, 20 minutes it's not going to really test his fitness, is it? You still don't really know if he's fit. You know what I mean, for the full game. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he started on the bench and maybe came on the second half and Van de Beek played instead of him. That's what I'd personally do. I know you want to.
Well, I was about to say, we'll go into the lineup later.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry. Doing it as well, I'll tell you.
It just naturally happens. No, I'm really confident. I think we need to play with no fear. There's nothing. I'm not really scared of Tottenham at all, apart from Harry Kane, who scored a couple of goals. Other than that, nah, man. We need to play with Old Trafford. We need a home win. So yeah, I'm quite excited. I'm looking forward to the game.
Right, okay, so this comment is probably gonna be the best comment of the night. Eric Diarrhea will give us the Big Benz and Bruno will put them away, and Josie will lose his shit. A lot of people in the comments, I'm assuming the Man United fans, kind of slacking Josie off. Kish saying that he plays part of the Buzz football. Of course, that is something that we've affiliated with him in the past. However, I know you've got a contrasting view in terms of the manner in which he's played this season. What are your thoughts in terms of how you're going to approach the game? And do you
I think it's going to be. It's a bit weird because both sides play counter-attacking football. None of the two teams are really possession type of teams. When it comes against the bigger oppositions or the bigger teams in terms of talent, they seem to sit back and wait for the counter. Because if you look at your front three and you look at our front three, there's pace across the board. So it's more going to be. I feel like the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes will be cat and mouse between both sides, and then it will be like a bit of a burst, I think, and it will be the team who has the burst first for me that will kind of dictate, how it goes. I think this game more so than any other is massively important for who scores first, in my opinion, because I do feel that if like we did in the game that we played, with you guys, I think it was the first game back after COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where we scored first and then we just sat back. Now, for me, I think Mourinho this season, personally, again, I could be completely wrong. I feel like he has changed slightly in that way where if we score first, he doesn't seem to shut up shop. Again, granted, it's very, very early in the season, and a lot of past hate of Mourinho is, he always sits back, blah, blah, blah. But I do feel on this occasion, he knows he doesn't have the defense to hold a 1-0 lead. It's not like the defense that he had at Chelsea, Madrid, Inter, and sort of, past teams where he can hold a 1-0.
Excuse me, hello, Man United.
Well, even at times at United, he did hold it, together. Bailly in that season that was under Mourinho was quality. But so he knows he doesn't have the defense to hold a lead, and it's clear we've not had a clean sheet, I don't think, all season yet. So it proves that I think he's had to slightly change his tactics. Just because of the team that he has, and I feel like he knows that he knows that he has to adapt based on the team that he has. Whereas I think if we had better centre halves or if we had a bit more of a better defence, he probably would shore up shop a bit more. But now he's realised that that's not the case. So I do personally think that there'll be a couple of goals in this game. But again, I think whoever scores first will be vital. In particular from our end, I think.
Yeah, I think just coming back to the game that we played against you recently when we drew 1-1, we had to win that game. For me personally, I thought, we had to be a bit.
You should have won that game comfortably. And don't get me wrong, you battered us in that second half. You absolutely battered us. I can't disagree with that at all, if I'm honest. And you should have scored a lot earlier than when you did.
Yeah, no, we scored very late on. Of course, Pogba winning the penalty, but I just think. For me personally, obviously, I'll pass it to you, Rob, but I think Jose is going to be very cautious, which obviously doesn't contradict what you said in terms of the manner in which you started. But like you already mentioned, both teams kind of tend to be a bit more reserved when they play against better opposition or opposition that you think that can hurt them potentially. I think that it's going to be a matter of you lot allowing us to have the ball. Because Jose's going to think we can't break.
But then the one fear you guys need to have is, I know it's different game and everything, but against Brighton, that game, every time you took the lead, you seemed to hold off every time. There was no kind of urgency to get another goal.
We just played terrible that game. I
think that was just because my worry now is if say the transfer window, you don't buy anyone, or if you get not even half to the signings that you need, right? Will the pressure then get to Ollie? Say if you're 1-0 up in the game, 50, 60 minutes, will he be tempted then to shut off and become more defensive man? Do you think that is even a possibility based on the pressure? Because again, none of this is his fault, in my opinion, based on he needs the players, he needs the backing. But do you think the pressure ultimately is going to start getting to him if potentially losing his job?
I don't think so, Rob. I'll pass that to you. I personally don't think that even comes into play, to be honest.
No, again, maybe because I'm a sad old football journalist and I don't believe these things at the end of the day. I don't know. I don't think it will at all. I don't think any of that will come into play. Ole knows how he wants to play football. He's got a squad that does what he wants it to do. Yes, he needs players, no doubt about it. But again, I don't think managers sit there and think, oh, no, I didn't get Jadon Sancho, I can't possibly attack today, or something like that. United have kind of worked on their stylistic properties over the last 12 months. In the fact that they want to be a possession team. That's what Ole wants, to be, a possession team on the front foot, getting away from counter-attacking football and being able to dominate the ball and dominate the opponent. Jose Mourinho still is a low block man. He will play low block against Manchester United. He will play 4-6-0 effectively, even with Harry Kane dropping into the hole. That's how he plays. It's nothing different. It is what he's always done, and he doesn't change those things. You've only got to kind of watch the All or Nothing documentary to see how Jose marks his tactics out and how he does the training. And it's the same training that he's always done. He's always kept to his rule book because he plays his style of football. You can't blame him. He's had so much success with it over the years. I think for Tottenham, the thing will be, in the weeks coming forward, will be how they utilise Gareth Bale and how they can integrate him. Now, there's no doubt Bale on his top days, one of the best in the world, and he can absolutely do it and be a massive part of any success that Tottenham have this season. But I think for Spurs, if we're kind of just looking at the United game, I think both teams will be fairly cautious to start off with. Why is that? Because they're still trying to get their fitness back. So I don't think it really comes down to, right, which manager's going to go for it. Because again, I don't think managers think like that. They have their own ideas about how their team should play week to week. And it's not like, right, this is a game where we're going to go out and fly out the blocks. With the Brighton game, why did United let their foot off the gas every time they scored? It's because they're knackered. Simple as that. They've not got the fitness. So you score a goal and you kind of take a deep breath. And for 10 minutes, you can't pick it up because you've got your objective of putting the ball in the net. So I think the Tottenham game might be a little bit like that. I think it might be a slow start. And for United, stop Harry Kane. I think you win the game. Simple as that. Keep Kane away from that penalty area. Make him go and operate.
This is why, Rob. Sorry. This is why I think for us it's weird. It's a player that I haven't really, liked a lot of at Tottenham, and I've slated him many times due to his fitness.
Don't say Lamella, don't you?
End on Belly for me, because he played against Chelsea for the full 90 minutes, which I think is only the second time he's done it in his career for us. And he was, I don't know if you watched the Chelsea game, but he in the centre midfield was outstanding for us.
But we already know he's an outstanding player.
I know, I get that. But what I'm saying, that's not my point. My point is the fact that I think the importance of the game will be dependent on his performance also, because I do feel like this game will be won in midfield. I don't think it will be defence, because clearly both of us can't defend. Attacking wise, yes, but I think it is in the midfield where it will be, the likes of, your defense and our defensive midfielders that will actually, to see who breaks up play, that will be the ones that will win the game effectively for either or, in my opinion.
I think pace will win the game. I think whoever uses their pace the best. I think the thing is, United are going to go with their front three. Yeah, it's going to be the front three that we saw score more goals than any other front three in the Premier League last season. Those three have been. They've been trying to build up. They've been trying to build up their fitness. Obviously, we've seen Marcus looking better in the last game. Mason obviously been given more time, and obviously Martial dropped out for the cup games. But I think United will be trying to exploit that front three onto Tottenham's back four, because Tottenham's back four haven't got pace. So that they will sit in and you will put that low block. And I think that might be the problem for Spurs' midfield, is that you might have seen a little bit more progressive stuff in the last couple of games. But I think because of United's threat with pace, Jose generally, when he plays against pacey teams, will sit everyone back into a low block. And that will suit United. United will be happy with that, because Matic will play in front of our back four and he'll eat up anything that goes in there. It's not really a problem for him. But it's about the distribution, and it will come with the pace. And I think United will try and pick the lock against Tottenham and try and drive you right back into your own penalty area.
Yeah, and that's why I think Julian will start at fullback. He'll start against United, in my opinion.
Right, okay, one second, Kish, before we go into the liners, let me just bring Wass in, because the Paul has not had a word yet.
I'm fine listening.
Obviously, for me personally, I do agree with Rob. I think Jones he's gonna play into our hands, to be honest. If he gives us the ball and allows us to play football, we will grow in the ascendancy. You saw against Brighton in the last 30 minutes when we started to play the ball around, and the boys are confident passing the ball around. They start to build confidence. Obviously, if we get the first goal, things will change, that kind of thing. But where do you think? Spurs can hurt us, and obviously then Kish, I'll pass it to you, and you can explain where obviously we can hurt you, so to speak. Where do you think we can? Where do you think they're going to hurt us? Whilst where are our weaknesses for them to exploit?
Yeah, I mean, well, without Son, that's like a massive miss for them, to be honest. But I do like Mora and Bergwijn. I think they're really good players. I don't know why Mora doesn't get enough game time, to be honest. But also players like Lo Celso.
Yeah, Lo Celso. Yeah, Lo Celso.
He's quite a clever player as well. He's still trying to find his feet, I think. But I've seen enough of him to say that he's a decent player. But apart from Harry Kane, like getting the goals wise, I don't see any like goal threat. Lucas Moura on that, the pace, they're really quick, and they can make something happen. Like,
well, in Lucas Moura was Luke. Was it who was it that destroyed Maguire for pace?
It was Luke.
It was Moura, was it not?
Bergwijn was in the last game when he made a mistake. You know about that? Or the one before that?
Kish, who was it? Was it Bergwijn that just did us? I can't remember.
It was Bergwijn.
Oh, it was Bergwijn. Okay, so I knew it was one of them.
But every time, what Rob said about pace is quite key as well, because if you look at all the goals, say, Man United or Tottenham have conceded in the past, like past a year or so, a couple of years maybe, they've all been like pacey kind of goals where that you run past, like, you know, you cause that kind of problem by running out the defense kind of thing. They're the kind of goals. There's not been, I can't think of any like tap-ins, but they've been like decent goals. But Man United, I mean, Martial, like I was saying, we can cause that threat if Martial is on his game kind of thing as well. But for them, yeah, I mean, Harry Kane is the problem. But I think every time he's played against us, Harry Maguire has kind of pocketed him. I don't know. He's kind of got, you know, he knows him, you know, from England duty and all that as well. But I think he knows his game, and they kind of not cancel each other out, but he doesn't give him that much chances. But for me, if we got Eric Bailly in there, then that's going to make a huge difference. So,
and as great as Harry Kane is, and I do think he's probably the best striker in the world on his day. You know, I think he's the best striker in the world when he's operating around the penalty box. I think he's exactly the kind of striker that Maguire likes playing against.
Yeah, exactly.
So if Jamie Vardy is the striker that Maguire doesn't like playing against because he runs in behind and will stretch him for pace, Kane will drop into a kind of 9.5 role, as we call it, between the 9 and the 10, and he'll give him a little bit more time to kind of bring his positioning in. But you're right, if Bailly plays, that gives you a bit more kind of insurance in there, and he might well play this time. I think, you know, he's had a good couple of games. It's just whether Ole feels that he can play more than once a week at the moment, because that seems to be the stickling point.
Yeah, there's a few comments here regarding obviously our midfield and our selection. We're going to do the selection obviously after Kish started to say. We've got a couple of questions for you, Rob, in particular regarding Van der Beek and Pogba. I promise we will answer them very shortly. But Kish, who do you think is going to cause who's going to cause Spurs the most problems from the Man United team? Who do you think is the biggest threat and you guys need to watch out for?
I think the biggest threat for us at the moment has to be the guy in your midfield, Fernandes. You know, because the problem with you last season before the signing of Fernandes was a lack of creativity. Simple as. As soon as he came in and he found the pockets in terms of the spaces, that is when your season turned around. There's no two ways about it. Before he came in, you were miles away from the top four. He comes in, creativity, creates the opportunities for other players as well. It's not just his movement on the ball, it's off the ball. So for us, if we mark the main creativity in the game, which is Fernandes, then the rest of the front three for me cannot get involved. It's as simple as that. It's the same for us, where if we don't have any creativity in our midfield, so if Ndombele or Lo Celso doesn't play, then we're in trouble. So our main tactic should be, is whether it's Winks, whether it's Sissoko. I would prefer Sissoko because of the pace, to man mark Fernandes, in my opinion, because you take him out of the game, and then it's a matter of you trying to, you know, chase at feathers. You're dependent on a Martial, you're dependent on a Rashford to create something out of nothing. Which, again, you know, I'm not saying that they don't have the ability or the talent, even Greenwood, to do that. But for my own peace of mind, would feel a lot better knowing that we take your main creative spark out of the game. Again, providing Pogba doesn't play, and I don't know if Pogba will start. I do feel like he won't, but I think for me, Fernandes, take him out of the game, and you're talking an even playing field from my side of things.
Yeah, I've got a feeling Jose's going to play Winks and Højbjerg together in a two in a pivot. I don't think Dembele's. I'm pretty confident Dembele's not.
Again, yeah, I agree with you. Which is
it
annoys me to think that. It annoys me to think that because I think we really do need someone like an Ndombele in this game. But I think the tactics for his game on this will prove you right, whether he's adapted or not, based on the team that he puts out.
To be fair, like typical Jose would be like, let's get a draw. You know, is it? I'm pretty sure it's Old Trafford. I've not double checked.
Typical Jose would play wings, Sissoko and Bergwijn all in the same midfield.
I think the thing is as well, though, for Bruno, like you say now, I think the problem is if you man mark him, Bruno will pull that marker well out of the area and leave you exposed. So that's always the thing. I know it's also this kind of like, oh, who's the danger man? Let's go and sort him out. But I don't think Jose will do that. Jose will sit low because that's what he'll do and try and close the space for him to run into. If you kind of follow him and what Bruno will do, because he's clever, is he'll just pull him all the way to the left or the right wing. And there'll be huge holes, and Mason Greenwood will be laughing his chops off, and will be getting in there and getting shots off left, right, and centre. So it is difficult. And with Pogba, he will play quite deep, I think. Anyway, again, I don't think we're going to see Pogba in this kind of fabled number 10 role that every United fan dreams of him playing with. So he'll be kind of part of the defensive setup anyway. But it's more trying to stop that front three. And I'm sorry if I'm answering questions before they come to me, but I think for me it's about Rashford and Greenwood. They're two players that look like that something's back. There's some fire. There's something clicked the other day, and the engines have relit, and you can just see that there's something going on there. So for me, as a United fan, that's what I'm looking for. To see if those two boys can support Martial and really hurt Tottenham.
Yeah, I know. I think what I said on our match preview where we do one good, one bad, my good was Rashford. I think Rashford has, for me personally, you're starting to see small sort of bits of quality from him. And as we know, Rashford is a confidence player. When he is on form, he's unplayable. For me,
I am massively worried about your pace in attack. I can't lie.
I'm telling you, Rashford looked very, very good when he came on against Brighton. And I know
did you watch our first game against Everton when Richarlison went for the ball against Alderweireld? You could see that Alderweireld has lost 5 yards of pace. Yeah, nice. Imagine what Rashford is going to do to him.
Rashford's very quick. Let's go through the team lineups. Before I do that, I've got a question. Rob, just pass it to you because obviously you've probably got a bit more thoughts on it. In terms of Spurs, obviously Kish will allow you to do your team now. Let us know your team now. Do you reckon they go for back three with Reguilon and Doherty as wing backs? To be fair, I think that is a shout. Don't think it'll happen, but I do think it's a good shout. Both quality wing backs, aren't it? Really?
I think Jose might play 5. He's going to play deep, whatever way. So if you want to call it, 3-5-2, 3-4-3, whatever kind of variation of the low block you want to call it, he's going to play with 5 stringed across the back when United have got the ball, because that's how he'll feel to fill those channels in. United are at their most dangerous when the ball goes from the first point in the pivot into midfield and then in the channel. So United will run that channel all day. They'll think that that's the way to beat Tottenham. And Rashford, for once, like we said this the other day, he's had a big, long period of bad form because of his injury that he had. Yeah. And it's just this last week that you suddenly go, oh, that's the old Marcus Rashford. That what he's doing there, sniffing out certain opportunities, coming from deep, trusting his own body as well. Yeah. I've got someone here who I can beat. Whereas going back to the end of last season, you could tell that wasn't there. He was backing off. He was going left, staying on the line, trying to give himself space. I think the other good thing for me as a United fan and knowing what these boys are like is that they're playing Mourinho, and quite a few of them have. Yeah, they want to prove a point to Mourinho. Absolutely. There's a few of those guys that have got that in their heads.
Martial definitely.
Well, Martial, but Luke Shaw. Anyone that Mourinho dug out half that United team. Week by week he dug them out personally and got on them, and that's fine. That's how he manages people, but. They do remember, and when they play Tottenham, there is that in their head that. Right, this is an opportunity for me just to kind of, tick a box and prove to Jose, I wasn't a particularly bad player.
Yeah, and Akil echoes that sentiment, obviously listing the players, saying hopefully they relish that chance. Whilst we'll come to you, and then obviously Kish will allow you to say your team selection for you. I suppose for Spurs it might be a bit more difficult, but for United it's quite straightforward. In terms of team selections, there's only literally 2 places that are talking point. The front 3, unless he shocks us all, is definitely the front 3. The 2 spots really is the Pogba Van de Beek debate or Bailly Lindelof? Obviously, we know the answers to both in our personal opinion. But I'm going to ask you, what do you think Ollie's going to do? So you can answer them both: Bailly or Van de Beek, and not Bailly Van de Beek, Pogba. No one's even correcting me as well. Pogba or Van de Beek, or Bailly or Lindelof. So who are you going centre back to partner Maguire? And who are you going to partner Matic? I'm assuming it's Matic. I might be wrong here, but I'd assume it's. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously I've been a big supporter of Eric Bailly, and rightly so. Definitely, that's a no-brainer change. There's no fitness issues. The guys just come through fine. So yeah, Eric Bailly has to start.
And regarding the midfield three, who are you going for?
Midfield three, I'm obviously going to go with Matic because I think you need that someone to sit in deep with this kind of team. I'm going to start with Van de Beek and then Bruno just in front. Van de Beek box to box, and I'll bring Pogba on maybe 60th minute, something like that, because that way he doesn't have to use a lot of the energy. He'll come on fresh, raring to go. I think that's what you want. And if he comes on ready to go and you're playing slightly advanced role, depending on what situation, if we go down, whatever, that's going to cause Spurs a lot of problems. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, no, interest. We got a comment from you from Faris saying, this is my first time watching the show. We appreciate you tuning in, Faris. Obviously, you're more than welcome back anytime. Obviously, all fan content, all that good stuff. But coming to you, Rob, obviously, for me personally, they're the two main talking points. By all means, feel free to correct me if there's anyone else you change. For example, De Gea out for Henderson. I don't know if that's in your thoughts. But yeah, I know, I've had someone just say it to me, so I'm just throwing it in there. So centre back. Partnership, who are you going for? And the midfield three, who are you going for?
Well, I'll tell you what I think will happen rather than what I hope will happen.
Okay, go on then.
I do think that he'll probably start Maguire, Lindelof, and Matic. Yeah. So he'll play those three there because he wants his team to go and operate and play the football that they've played for a year. So that's how you start with that. I think in terms of who plays in the midfield, everyone is obviously desperate to see Van de Beek start. Van de Beek's not going to start. So the reason why is he not going to start? Because the team that played against Brighton will not be thrown straight in a few days later again. So this is the other thing with Bailly. It's not a case that Bailly is not good enough or not. You just got to look at how he's structured the opening starting 11s for the start of the season, and you can see what he's thinking. So, yeah, of course, over time, Bailly might force his way in and become the bona fide starter in that back four with Maguire. But is he going to start in this game? Probably not. He'll probably be on the bench just in case they need pace later in the game to shore things up, like we've seen. And I think Van de Beek will start on the bench, not because Van de Beek's not good enough. You've got to remember, before the last 2 or 3 games, Van de Beek hasn't played for 6 months. Everyone's got this thing in their head that he's really fit and ready to go. He's not. He's building up his fitness like all the other lads are. So I think he'll play Pogba because Pogba's trained more than Van de Beek with the squad. And I think he'll want Pogba to play the role that Pogba plays, which is just in front of Matic. And that will allow Bruno to go and do his job. So I think we know real surprises. And I think a lot of United fans will be annoyed with that because they want to see certain players come in. And I totally understand why that is. I've got no confidence in Lindelof, as everybody knows. Yeah, but I think we won't see any real surprises. The only thing we might see is if Ole's not happy still with, say, Mason Greenwood's fitness at the moment, say he still thinks he's coming along, you might see someone like Juan Mata get a few minutes more than we think because he's had 2 or 3 good games. Now, I wouldn't want that because I think that you have to play with pace, and Greenwood starts every game for me at the moment. I think he's the best finisher at the football club, so you put the best finisher on the football pitch. But I think it will probably be the kind of bog standard Man United 11 that most people have seen for the last year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. However, I think this comment sums up why Bailly has to start for me. An absolute no-brainer. If Ollie plays Lindelof, he's setting himself up for criticism for me personally.
But how do you start him? If you can't play more than once a week, how do you start him?
But what's to say? Why is Lindelof playing 3 games a week then?
Because Lindelof can start once because Lindelof's fitness is okay. So this is the problem. I agree with you. I don't want Lindelof in the team. I'd sell him by October the 5th. Sell him. Get rid. I really don't want him.
I know you don't want Lindelof. I know you definitely do not want Lindelof.
But Bailly is made of paper. That's the problem. And
we're going to lose. Look, they've got pace up front. We've got no pace in centre back. You don't need to be a genius to work out what's going to happen. Kane's going to drop in the hole. They're going to run off Kane. He's going to play in behind like he did against Southampton. And we're going to get absolutely obliterated.
Totally. But thinking about Harry Kane, probably the worst player that you can put in front of Bailly is Harry Kane, because he'll just do him. Because Bailly's not cute enough. Now Lindelof I don't think is good enough to play for Man United. I've said this, and I don't even think that he should be anywhere near the starting 11. But I think if you're Ollie and you're looking at what does my team do and how do I set up, he will play those three who are not particularly fast in Maguire, Lindelof, and obviously Matic, because he'll be looking to plug that hole where Kane goes and operates as a number 10 when he drops out of the striker position. So United fans don't like it because it's always about, it's kind of like we don't like that player, so we don't want him in and all this. But I think it's more about what the manager thinks of how his kind of game progresses. I'd love Bailly in there, but if Bailly played against Brighton 90 minutes, which he did, I can't see him playing another 90 minutes against Tottenham, because he gets injured every 2 or 3 games. So you have to look after him, and you have to think, right, I want Bailly for 6 months. I don't want Bailly just for 6 games and then I'm going to lose him again. I have to look after him. And I know United fans won't accept that because it's a game of football, but that's the truth. That's how they look at fitness. And I think with Bailly, he gets injured too often, so you have to look after him at this point.
Yeah, okay. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Obviously, you guys know, including Rob's points. If you haven't seen our previous podcast, there's not one person that wants Lindelof to start. Just to clarify, before you get into Rob's neck, he's not saying he wants him to start. He's just suggesting that you definitely don't want Lindelof. You said you don't want him in the club.
I'm just telling you what will happen. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine. Viking Red, just want to say hello, mate. Absolute legend. Always tuning in to the shows. For the rest of you that are in the comment section, make sure you put your comments down. I'll try and read out as many questions as we possibly can. Or if you've got any comments, I'll just put them on the screen as we go along. Of course, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Anyways, Kish, you've heard what we've got to say about our team. I feel like our team is a bit more obvious to pick. Obviously, there's a couple of players here and there, but in the whole, I think most United fans would probably agree. Let us know from a Spurs perspective. What do you reckon? In fact, I don't know if you should say what you think Jose will do or what you should do.
I think it's a bit of a weird one, because I think he's going to play one of 2 formations, similar to what Rob mentioned earlier, where he wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-5-2, which, to be honest, you could definitely lean towards that. But I think the fact that, I know I've alluded to this constantly, but we've had 4 fixtures. This would have been our 4th fixture in 7 days. And I just don't think that he will make changes after half time. He will make changes. So I feel like initially we'll start as a 4-3-3. And I think it's going to start with the way Dyer's performed recently. Well, particularly in the last couple of games, the penalty he could do nothing about. But I think in particular the Chelsea game,
was an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, it was a disgrace. But I'm sure we've talked about this numerous times.
Yeah, no, just a quick again. The Doherty one, by the way, was it?
Yeah, yesterday. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
God, that is the worst decision. You guys have got the Lucas Moura one, and then from last season the Doherty. Oh my God.
To be honest though, if it means that we could have that Man City night in the Champions League that we did, for that, I would take it all over again. I don't care. Give us more handballs. It's fine.
We're getting a pen tomorrow, Kish. You better be ready for it. I'm telling you,
you see what Jose said in his interview, saying you're not safe for against United unless you leave the stadium. You ain't safe.
Yeah, we're getting a penalty tomorrow. I can't wait to see Jose's post.
Jose's going to walk off the pitch, guaranteed. He's going to go into the tunnel, 100%. 95th minute pen. It's written.
Yeah, I've interrupted you. Sorry, your selections.
But yeah, so for me, 4-3-3. I think he's definitely starting Reguilon, because I think you boys have all mentioned, with the pace that you have in attack, I think he's the only one in our defense with a better pace, to be honest, and he has to play, in my opinion. So he'll play alongside Doherty, either Doherty or Ben Davies, either or. To be fair, I would prefer Ben Davies just because of the defensive side of things. I do think we need someone that can hold it together, and I think Doherty, although he puts a lot into the team defensively, I'm not too sure on him yet. In the centre half position, I'd have Eric Dyer alongside Davinson Sanchez. Again, Sanchez gives us a better pace. Alderweireld for me, yeah. Again, he's still a quality defender, but I think the game against Everton
he got rinsed. Just to add in there, am I right in thinking he got rinsed by Rashford when Pogba played that ball?
He's just
that was like 3 years ago, and he got rinsed by
that was I think 18 months ago. He's lost his pace. He for me is still a quality centre back, but the pace is gone. Similar to why we let Vertonghen go, just his pace, his legs have gone, unfortunately. So for me, that will be a back four. The midfield three for me. Again, a bit of this is hope. I'd definitely put Ndombele in that midfield, and I think the fact that he didn't play at all in the Europa League, he wasn't even in the squad. He played full 90 on Tuesday. I can't see Mourinho playing the same midfield including Sissoko in the starting lineup after him playing the full 90 in the Europa League. I just can't see it. So I feel like it'll be Winks, Højbjerg, because Højbjerg came on at half time in the Europa League. Yeah. Winks, Højbjerg, and Ndombele in the midfield.
Okay.
And then I think the front three will be Kane in the middle, of course, Son and Lucas Moura, because with Son, he's not ruling it out. Because he's not ruling it out. No, but the thing is, listen to me.
That's got to be a myth, surely.
He did this before the Chelsea game, where he said, "I don't think we can compete for it, even though I want to." And I don't think. And he played virtually his first squad. And I feel like this is a typical Mourinho, where he said, I don't want to guarantee fans that he's going to play because I can't assure that. It just seems like Mourinho all over again. And I would not be surprised one bit if he starts alongside Lucas Moura and Kane on on the match day squad. I would not be surprised one bit. So for me, that for me is my first 11.
Yeah. Okay. So based on that, Forrest, obviously the lad that's just watching for the first time, he's basically saying what I've said regarding, we all know this anyways, regarding the Bergwijn goal. Lindelof's recovery pace is going to cause us problem, or lack of recovery pace, shall I say. Same for Maguire, vice versa. If someone goes past Lindelof, Maguire's not going to be able to recover, especially the team, you suggested, Kish. If Son is fit, I'm a lot less confident. I'm confident because Son, in my head, isn't playing. And obviously, for me personally, he's a threat. He's one of the best players in the league for a reason. His quality, no doubt. Rob, if I don't pass, we come to you. Obviously, hearing the lineup from Kish, how are your thoughts? And obviously, we'll do score prediction very shortly. But what are your thoughts going into the game? Are you still confident? Just like a final sort of thought, sort of thing.
Well, the player that kind of would worry me. Oh, is it me or?
No, we've got to Waz first.
Yeah, I'm always confident. So yeah, I'm going for a convincing United win. I think we're just going to be too much for them. I think a lot of players got too much to prove, and we're just going to be way too strong. I'm just too confident. Kish just hates me.
The most biased fan I have ever seen in my life.
What's give your score prediction? You're going to say it anyways. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, it's 3-0. 3-0 to United.
Wow. Right, Rob. Okay, clearly what's his
I was not biased, Kish.
Right.
I'm so biased.
Kish, you like you said, shortly. Rob, your final thoughts on the game and obviously your score prediction.
I think it'll be a draw because I just think that Tottenham will exploit Lindelof at some point, and I do think Lindelof will play. Yeah. I don't think Son will play. Tottenham have said that he won't be available till after the international break. So if that's how bad his injury is, it would be a miracle if he turns up. And he was the player that I would have sat here today and gone, Son's the player I'm worried about because of his movement in the channel. The channel was where you beat Man United. If you can exploit the channel, and Lucas Moura could, any of the guys coming from midfield, if they come from deep, can. And Kane will be almost a little bit of a foil, but Maguire will be happy dealing with Kane as a one-to-one. But I think for United, it's still building fitness. I know people are bored of this. I still think 2 to 3 weeks of hard games is what's needed to get United back to the top level. I think we'll see more from United than we have done in the opening 2 league games. They look fitter in the Brighton match. That's why I think Ole will also rotate his options again. We won't see the team that started against Brighton. And I think it's to see how Pogba and Rashford play. They're 2 players that have come back from big injuries over the last few months. They've absolutely had their form affected by that. I know, again, fans might not want to recognise that, but they're the 2 players. If they have good games and play, they might be the difference makers in midfield and attack. And Tottenham are quite stationary in defence. This is what I think. I think any of our movement, if it works and we play through from Pogba to Bruno to those front three, United will get plenty of opportunities, and if they get opportunities, they'll score.
Yeah, no. What was the score prediction? Sorry, Rob. You said
2-2.
draw, didn't you? 2-2. Okay, you're going for 2-2. Right, interesting. I don't think there'll be as many. Well, there'll be goals, but I think it's going to be very cagey. I've got to be honest. I think Spurs are going to come to play for the draw, based on what Jose normally does. And I think he's going to be very close to getting. I think we've just got too many match winners on the pitch. I'm seeing a lot of positivity, in particular from Rashford, going into this game. So hopefully he continues that confidence. Hopefully he actually runs at the fullbacks, because at the moment it's kind of up in the air if they're actually good defensively. Of course, we know they're both very good going forward. It remains to be seen defensively. If they're good enough, the handball rule is an absolute shambles. I would not be surprised if we get a penalty and we win because of a penalty. We've got a lot of tricky wingers as well going forward. So I'm not going to be surprised if we actually win this on a penalty. So I'm going to say 2-1. Very cagey. If you're a neutral, it's probably not going to be a good game of football, but I think we'll just nick it. Kish, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, again, I don't think it's going to be a goal fest, because I think with the two managers and the kind of the stakes, even though it's early in the season, you don't want to kind of be, you know, playing catch up. So I do feel like it'll be more of a case of both teams not wanting to lose rather than win. Personally, I think that's how it's going to work out. And again, as I mentioned very early doors, the first 20-25 minutes is going to be very cagey. I will be surprised if there's any kind of real opportunities in the first quarter.
What should be 3-3 at first?
Imagine, you know, famous last words. But again, I think it's very, very close. And I think the final result will be similar to how it was, you know, after COVID, 1-1. I think it'll be a draw, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. To be honest, I don't think I'd be very surprised if it is a draw, I've got to say. Just to answer this question here, Viking Red, we've all gone for De Gea for the current moment in time. So that's basically your match preview. Make sure you put your comments in the comment section, obviously when the video is posted on YouTube. Put your score predictions in, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. You know, it's good to have a rival fan on, although obviously we're homies. For this game in particular, hopefully fucking lose, mate. But apart from that, hopefully you do shit in the season as well. So I don't wish you anything. But make sure you show love to everyone on the socials. We're going to be back actually at 9 o'clock for the Fancy Football podcast. A bit of fun for you, you know, not to worry about Manchester United for too much. Apart from that, being your host, Usmaan, peace. Happy days. We've got people coming in now asking questions. Any chance we get Maguire inside? What? Any chance? Any chance